Yes. I whispered with my mic on. Quite early on, when we started sitting, we were told that people heard us what we were whispering about. I'll be careful.
I didn't hear anything, Chair. Chair, yesterday there was a provisional ruling made by the Commission in relation to the disclosure of names in the annexure S4 to the witness's statement, the WhatsApp. I'd like to make further submissions on that to the court, to the Commission, and perhaps if the Commission could indicate whether they will be making a final ruling or not regarding the disclosure of the names, and whether myself or Ms. Mafisa will be heard on that.
I think it's only one name now, because
Yes.
in respect of the other name, it was mentioned, so that horse has bolted.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. Yes.
Chair, I think it was appropriate yesterday to proceed in the manner that we did. As I said yesterday, out of an abundance of caution. But on reflection, it seems to me that there's no good reason not to disclose the second name that's mentioned in that chat, in that WhatsApp. And I say so for a few reasons. The first is that WhatsApp communication was shared by the witness to the Commission unredacted. So the names are known to the Commission. The second is, yesterday, the legal representatives for the witness explained that...
But just on that, unless there's something I do not know, I don't think we as a Commission would pose any danger to the General. So this being shared with us, I don't think that addresses the issue that was raised by Ms. Mafisa.
Well, I'm getting to that, Chair, because I don't think that's an issue either.
Yes.
So it was shared unredacted.
Yes,
there was no communication to the Commission. We're providing this to you, but that this is not to be made known in any way.
Yes.
And the reasons why it should not be made known. What we were informed yesterday was that there's indeed a link between General Sabia and Mr. X, and that the witness has evidence of this, and there was an undertaking to provide that evidence.
Because we have a witness X, maybe let's use some other letter instead of Mr. X in respect of this.
Well,
sorry. Yes, let's use the Mr. So-and-so that the General used yesterday.
Mr. such and somebody, Mr. so-and-so, Mr. S, whatever we call him, that was put on record yesterday, right? That there's a link between General Sabia and Mr. so-and-so. And that evidence would be made available to the Commission. And that's important because that fact goes to the core of what this Commission is here to investigate. So it's critical to the purpose of this Commission that we not only have that information, but that where we engage with it openly unless there's good reason not to engage with it openly. The reason that there's a risk to the witness doesn't bear up, because from the face of the text itself, the WhatsApp, there's no threat to the witness that is posed. The witness, in fact, himself explained yesterday that he doesn't recall that part of the meeting and that part of the discussions that took place on the 15th April because he was in the kitchen. So the risk, in fact, and you can see that also from the test.
So it's basically not the witness's information.
It's not the witness's disclosure or informing on anyone.
It's a text by someone else mentioning these names, so it doesn't come from the general.
Does not come from the witness. The risk, if there is any risk, I say if there is, because we don't really know the details. We've not been provided with the nature of the risk. The risk, if there is any, is to Mr. Madlanga, not to the witness. So the final thing then I'd say is that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi will be requested to return to the Commission and to address the contents of this WhatsApp. And when he does so, he will disclose the name. So in any event, it will become known who Mr. So-and-so is. So my submissions to you, Chair, are that there is nothing on the face of this chat that indicates a risk to the witness, and there's no good reason not to disclose it, and that so far what information we have been provided about that there is a link between Mr. General Sibiya and this Mr. So-and-so is actually quite important, and we need to hear more fully and openly about it as undertaken by the legal representatives yesterday. So I would urge the commissioners to rule the final ruling to be to disclose the name of Mr. So-and-so. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hassim. Yes, Ms. Mafisa?
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Ms. Mafisa.
Commissioners, I think I've been placed in a little bit of a tight spot, if I may say so, because I don't think this is a matter that can be resolved by rational deduction. I really do not think so. We stated our reasons yesterday that there is a safety issue, and if the Commission wishes to make a final ruling on that, then that is okay. Then we will be bound to that ruling. But matters such as this, I do not think can merely be resolved by even argument. We do have reasonable belief that there is a security risk. So I think it's only fair that we led argument yesterday to try and protect Major General Senona. As much as my learner senior has stated that Major General Senona's life is in no way at risk, we believe that his life is at risk if he shares this particular name. And unfortunately, I cannot take it any further, especially on camera, to say that I cannot take it any further than to say that there is some sort of risk if he were to mention this particular name. Regarding us submitting this...
Is there anything additional to what you submitted yesterday?
Chairperson, I actually just had a chat now with my attorney, and I said, if need be, we can also supplement the statement. We have no issue with sitting with the client and also supplementing our statement. We do not want to seem as if we are not trying to assist the Commission.
What statement are you referring to?
Major General Senona's statement.
The statement on which his testimony is based.
Correct.
What's the relevance of that to the issue about the disclosure of the name? So that's why I was confused when you referred to a statement.
Yes, we are just saying that our reasoning can can be better elucidated within the statement, and then the commissioners can read the reasoning without us having to divulge certain information in front of the cameras because of that particular security risk. So we do not mind doing that because we do want to assist the Commission. The reason why we submitted the screenshots unredacted was for that main reason. We want to assist the Commission. So we're not trying to hide anything. Our issue here is that it's a security risk. That is the only issue. But I cannot take it any further than to state that, Chairperson.
We have heard submissions from both sides, and this is a matter of serious concern because issues are being raised around the safety or security concerns with regard to General Senona. That's not a matter we can ever take lightly. And indeed, where it's warranted, it's best to err on the side of caution. But we need to look at what we have before us here. And what we have before us is a WhatsApp text from General Mkhwanazi. This witness, that is General Senona, is therefore not the author. So what he is doing is merely to read that text that comes from General Mkhwanazi. And what is said in that is thus not being said by him. It is something that is being said by General Mkhwanazi. It's information which is 100% from General Mkhwanazi. Therefore, we do not share the concerns as much as issues of the risk or the security of the witnesses before us is a matter that we are quite concerned about. In this instance, we take the view that the general must disclose the name, must read the name as part of the whole text. That is our ruling.
Thank you, Chair. Chair,
Just before that, good morning, General.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Chair, if the witness is to do that now, I think he needs access to the device from his legal representative.
Mr. Baloyi, if you could assist again, please. Ms. Hassim, you will direct us where exactly you want the witness to read, or do you want him to again read from the beginning to the end? I do realize that if the witness starts somewhere in the middle, perhaps what he reads may be out of context.
Maybe out of context. It's also difficult to from our records to see exactly where, and it probably makes sense to just read it once more into the record from start to finish, and then we'll have one proper record with the entire
That's in
unredacted
order.
text.
That's in order. Thank you.
General, good morning.
Good morning, Advocate.
Could you read the WhatsApp exchange that was sent to you, the message? And can you read it from the beginning to the end?
Thank you, Commissioners. Good morning once more. Hi, General, I trust you are well. You made arrangements that I meet this guy, Kep, because he is your friend and brother, and he needed my help to speak to Lieutenant General Kua to place orders on his contract. He volunteered an information about a house address in Santin, where Sibia collects money using the state vehicle, and that he paid 2 million towards Sibia's purchase of his plot. He also told me about Sibia's townhouse. The fact that he is the one who introduced our meeting to the ad hoc committee and lied under oath, he invited me to make public the information that he gave me, which will put his life at risk. I am still going to that committee, and I hope he doesn't mind me exposing him to both Sibia and Steve Mutsumi. I hope you won't blame me for risking his life because I have to tell the truth about our meeting. If he thinks he can fool the committee, it's okay, but I will not say much, but to simply play a recording of our meeting verbatim because I have the record. What is worse is that after you told me about the discussion between you and him regarding Nengi, I asked you about your relationship with him. I still don't know how the two of you met to discuss about Nangi care. Besides the voice recording, cellular phone triangulation and my vehicle tracker, including access footage, will confirm the date and time of our meeting. And for his own sake, I hope that those timelines are in line with what he said before the committee in relation to his arrest. This is the man who says he met you 7 years ago, which is contradicting what you told me, that you grew up together. I guess this will be clear as the investigation continues. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, General.
Thank you, General.
Yesterday we were at a point where the video clip was being discussed, or there were engagements around it. And amongst other things, there was the question about whether there is or there isn't a SAPS logo. And I had engaged the General about the logo based on what you had said about the logo. But perhaps more importantly, there is the question of the request by Ms. Mafisa for them to have access to the video clip, which, am I correct that you now have that, Ms. Mafisa?
We received it, Chairperson. Thank you to the evidence leader. We did.
And you applied your minds to it?
Yes, we have.
May the engagement with the General on it continue then?
Please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Hassim, I don't know whether that's where you want to start or whether you want to start elsewhere.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not going to start there. I'm going to start elsewhere. We may circle back to that later on in the day. But I'd like to begin at the beginning again. And what that beginning is for me is the nature of the relationship between you, Major General, and Mr. Matlala that you were giving evidence about yesterday. So what we heard from you yesterday was that you met around 2018, 2019. You became close. He was like a brother to you, that you met regularly, and that you frequently conversed about current affairs, and that you shared news and media clips with each other. in the course of your discussions about things that are in the media and current affairs. Have I summarized that correctly?
In some, but I want to correct that, Commissioners. We converse about issues in general and media clips that were garnering our attention, my attention, and the attention of the community that was in the public domain. I just wanted to correct that. We don't sit and discuss each and every media clip, but it will be media clips that are of concern, is either from his side or from my side, but not necessarily that always we sit and discuss media clips, but we discuss issues that also related to the family, our families as well.
But you did say that you discuss current affairs, correct? And that you frequently discussed current affairs.
Current affairs, it also include, it's not limited to media clips, but it also include our personal issues, Commissioners.
Okay. It includes that, but it doesn't exclude what the normal understanding of current affairs is, which is the news, what's occupying the nation, what's occupying public opinion, correct?
I believe I've given you my answer.
Or you can just say yes or no.
General, your voice seems to have gone down today.
You know,
I do hear you, but you are not as
must I
loud.
raise it?
Just,
Apologies.
or perhaps pull the mics closer. I don't know, but something has happened to your voice today.
Oh, thank you, Commissioners. Apologies for that. I've indicated that I've provided my response to that question, and I believe that is the view of the advocate, but I've provided my response, Commissioners. Thank you.
I think I understand that to be a yes to my answer. So we don't need to dwell on it further. You also said yesterday that you had no knowledge that Mr. Madlanga is a criminal and of his alleged criminal activities.
That's correct, Commissioners.
Okay. So I'd like to take you to some of what was occupying the nation for some time. And for this purpose, could you please turn to the file with the media clips? And I'm not sure how it's marked on your file. And if you need assistance, we can assist. So on this topic of what occupies the news and public opinion, do you know the name Babita Deokaran?
Yes, I know the name Babita Deokaran.
And so you would be aware then of her assassination for exposing links between criminal syndicates and government officials related to particularly the corrupt contract with Tembisa Hospital.
I can recall that. Commissioners,
You recall that?
I can recall that.
And you would have read about this in the media?
Not necessarily read, but I can recall that, Commissioners.
Okay. But you say you did not know that Mr. Madlanga was implicated in this scandal.
Which scandal, Commissioners?
The scandal that I just referred to. The one that many investigative journalists were reporting on.
There is a number of 1, 2, up to 12 of newspaper clips, commissioners.
I'm talking about the Babita Deokaran exposure of the criminal syndicates.
In this bundle, where is it referenced so that I can respond properly?
No, we'll go to the bundle. I'm asking you a question about whether you were aware that Mr. Matlala was implicated in the Tembisa hospital scandal.
I was not aware, commissioners.
So let's then go to the media clips. And so the first, you'll see there are a number of articles that are included in this bundle. They're just a selection of what is available if you were to Google. But the first article, if you could please turn to that, it's page 1. And it's dated 13 Feb 2023. Do you see that?
I see that, commissioners.
And it's a long article, but the first bold paragraph reads as follows. A central figure in the Tembisa hospital procurement scandal, security boss Vusimusi Matlala is now under investigation for the illegal use of blue lights and sirens. This was reported in February 2023. Did you not have any knowledge of this at the time?
At the time, I've just got knowledge of this when you gave me this file yesterday.
You were not aware of any of the allegations against Mr. Matlala that were being reported on in the media since at least 2023?
As I've testified yesterday, commissioners, I was not aware of.
You weren't aware of this? Okay. So
Sorry, Ms. Hassan.
Yes.
We've just been alerted by the Commission spokesperson that there is indeed an issue with the sound, and that some journalists have indicated so. General, I don't know.
So is it with my sound or?
Mine.
Maybe closer to the mic, General. Yeah, please, yeah. This one as well, yeah.
Am I audible now, commissioners?
And
General, maybe the other issue is when you are responding, it seems like you are responding to Advocate Hasim, who's close to you, and you're only focusing on her. So pretend that you are responding to the Commission and try to raise your voice. If we can hear you, then you must assume that even the audio-visual equipment is capturing you correctly.
Noted,
So don't just have a conversation with Advocate Hasim, but have a conversation with the rest of us. That way, it is captured correctly, and for transcription purposes, we won't have issues in the future.
I've noted that, commissioner.
Thank you so
just
much.
That when I look at her, I just want to capture properly what is the advocate telling me. But if I look the other side, I might miss some things, but I'll try to comply with your directive, commissioners.
Thank you.
when listening, there's no issue at all. But I guess when you are speaking, once you do that, then you are no longer aligned with the microphones. I think that's the issue.
I will comply, commissioners.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. General, so just to return to the article implicates Mr. Matlala in the use of blue lights, as I've just read out. The article also reads, Tembisa Hospital tender tycoon Vusimusi Matlala, whose companies scored nearly 5 million rand in contracts, red flagged by Babita Deokaran, is now under investigation for his illegal blue light cavalcade used for airport trips and school runs. The article continues to say that Mr. Matlala has close ties to a Mr. Maumela. It also says that Mr. Maumela is tied to Matlala through his once shared interest in the private security outfit called CAT VIP Protection. those are the sort of headlines of the article. I'm not going to go through the rest of it. But as you can see, it's quite a detailed report. Do you see that?
I see that, Commissioners.
So the next article is dated 19 October 2023. And this one is an article in the Sowetan. And if you look at page 9 of the bundle, again, this media outlet refers to page 9, the last paragraph. Do you see that? It discusses social media posts by a person alleged to be a partner to Vusimusi Madlanga, and it reads that this person would inadvertently expose a questionable relationship between Madlanga, a businessman implicated in the Tembisa Hospital corruption scandal, and it goes on, it's cut off. But it basically is saying that Mr. Madlanga is implicated in that Tembisa Hospital corruption scandal. You weren't aware of this reporting at the time?
Correct, Commissioners.
So the third media article is dated 20 December 2024. And it's page 16. Do you see it?
Page 16.
Yes.
Yes.
And again, this is an in-depth piece of investigative journalism, so I'm just going to read the summary that's included in the news report, and that's on page 16. And it says, security boss and Tembisa Hospital tenderpreneur Vusimusi Madlanga had his home and office raided by police this week. Madlanga and his companies were red flagged by Babito Deokaran before her murder, and the investigation she started has now morphed into a special investigating unit probe and a Hawks investigation. While Madlanga is in the crosshairs on one front, another of his companies landed a 360 million rand health services tender from the police. Do you see that?
Yes, Commissioners.
You were not aware of this at the time?
I never read this article.
You were not aware of any of these kind of allegations? Were you aware of the raid on Mr. Madlanga's home and office?
The office raid, I was aware, as I've testified yesterday, that he told me the police came to his place to do the firearm inspection compliance, and then they were looking at his firearms, and then I said, that is the normal duties of the DFO. If they do that, there's nothing wrong. I don't see anything wrong in that, in the police. So that one, he told me, I was aware of that one, but I never saw the newspaper clip.
He didn't share any of this, these news pieces with you at the time?
The news of?
These news articles that were circulating, he didn't share it with you?
As commissioners, as it was, his phone was obtained by the police and downloaded, and with these softwares and so forth. If he shared these newspaper articles with me, it would have been also displayed in the bundle that the Commission has given us. And then also, if I have shared with him, I came across any of these articles, it would have been found there that there is this communication between Mr. Madlanga and General Senona in relation to these newspaper articles. It must be noted, Commissioners, that amongst other things that I do as a police officer, I do not patrol media space to look for things. Whatever happened to meet, I will read and deal with it. I normally don't patrol media things and look for things. Sometimes if a person sends you something, you will look at it and then it will ignite you to have a concern. But sometimes you pick it up while you are doing your job, and then it will ignite you, and then you'll be able to deal with it if you want to. It's not always a question of that. But these articles, commissioners, I read them. They gave me the file yesterday after we have adjourned. I went to them. I checked my WhatsApp. That was given to me. I've never come across this, or no, Mr. Madlanga has sent it to me, or any other person. And then I'm saying, should it have happened that I come across this type of messages, I think I would have employed what I did with the newspaper article of the 5th of March. To start to call him and question him about these things. And that would have increased my worry into the suspicions of his criminal activities, commissioners. I think that is my response that I can give, before the commission. Other than that, I've no other better explanation to provide before the commission.
You see, General, that doesn't answer the question, because what you're saying is you didn't know because he didn't send you the articles, because, and in fact, you don't even say that. You say, if you look at the phone, it's not there. There are many ways in which he communicated with you. And my question was whether he shared this with you in any form. You didn't answer that question. You say, well, look at what we have. And if it's not in what we have, then he didn't do it. That's evading the question. Now, there's a second part to this, which is that even if Mr. Madlanga did not share it with you, as you said, you discussed current affairs, this was an issue that was gripping the country. It was a shocking scandal, and Mr. Madlanga was notorious at this time. He was being reported on repeatedly in the media. So you didn't need Mr. Madlanga to share this with you if you were just watching average news, don't you think?
Commissioners, I believe I've responded to this question. It's coming again in a different way. I never came across these newspaper articles, and I've indicated if these newspaper articles came across me, I would have dealt with it as I dealt with that one of the 5th of March. That is
Besides,
my response. And besides,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, I was saying, I think the question goes beyond just newspapers. I heard Advocate Hassim to refer to even ordinary news, not necessarily newspapers, or not newspapers only. So is your answer that you never got to know about this from any news source whatsoever?
I'm saying yes, commissioners, because the only thing that it happened to catch me, it was that name of the late Mrs. Babita. But deeper to that, as when the advocate started with this newspaper clips, when she asked me. But ordinarily, if I would have came across this and then I read these names, definitely I would have dealt with it the way I dealt with the other one. And then that is my submission to you, commissioners.
So you never got to hear about alleged culprits in respect of the contracts that were being discussed in this context?
The conference.
Culprits. Alleged culprits.
Commissioners, all I know that the murder of Ms. Babita Deokran was investigated by the Johannesburg Serious Organized Crime. I saw the arrest because I know some of the investigators, but the in-depth of this thing, I never happened to make any follow-up or look into this type of things. As I indicated, I'm not patrolling. Normally, you won't find me patrolling too much on the media space looking for newspaper articles. But if it came to my attention, commissioners, I can definitely say I would have dealt with it in terms of what I did with the newspaper clip of the 5th of March, and it would have increased my wary suspicions with regard to our relationship.
General, when you say the name of Babita Diakoran caught your attention, what exactly about it caught your attention?
Is that she was killed for exposing corruption. Is the matter that a whistleblower was killed and then they put the name Babita Diakoran.
And where did you get that information?
I can't recollect 100% because this is something that came here now, but I don't want to give an opinion that I can't substantiate, but that one I did know. You know, I think if I'm right, it might be on radio, on my way to work or what, but I don't want to assume, commissioners. I don't have a good recollection. This is something new that was brought by the advocate to me, but if I can't recollect, I don't want to come and make opinions, but I've already indicated, Commissioner, that should I have found this thing, and then I would have dealt with it in terms of that.
All right. Forget for now, for purposes of my discussion with you or my engagement with you, forget that you got the file this morning because I'm not speaking to this. I don't monitor the media, but I know that I had this in the news, like every South African. Watching TV, it was national news. I think that we can take as a common fact that it was in the news. It made national news, and that's the only way I became aware of this story. You became aware of this story, you say you think on radio. Now, my question really is, what about it on radio did you hear? You didn't just hear the name she was killed, because it was a big story. There was a fuller story to it, and I would like to understand what it is you say you had, whether on radio, whether on TV, but when you heard about this name and that she's been killed, what else about it did you hear?
A whistleblower, Commissioner, has been killed for exposing corruption.
And that story would have said what corruption and where, right?
I do not have a recollection of that, Commissioner.
You must, General. I'm going to press you on this. You must. I think you're being selective in what you want to say you remember, which is it was just that she was killed. There was always a complete story about this, explaining what it's alleged she had done, blew the whistle on, and who was implicated in that. And it's difficult to accept that you heard about this killing, but you didn't hear what it is that she's supposed to have blown the whistle on, and who are the people that are implicated. It's difficult to accept that you didn't hear that information.
Commissioners, I say a whistleblower has been murdered for exposing corruption in Tembisa Hospital.
Yes. So you knew it was corruption, it related to corruption at Tembisa Hospital?
Yes, Commissioners.
And you say what you did not hear is that corruption implicated, or the allegations implicated Mr. Madlala's company. That's a part that you say you didn't hear.
No, when you read today, Commissioners, this was read, when I read it, it is not Madlala alone that was implicated here. When I read these articles today.
Yes.
Yeah, so I realize Madlala is part of this. There's other people and companies that are mentioned, but prior, I was not privy to know that which companies, but what was said on the radio, as if I remember very well, traveling to work, was a whistleblower who was murdered for exposing corruption at Tembisa Hospital. And then in the radio, I think they were talking about a lot of topics and other things, but this one came out because, Commissioners, if I was to be selective, I don't have to be selective because admit to things that I heard about, but allow me not to admit to things that I didn't hear.
Okay.
And then allow me to give you the best recollection of my events as they were unfolding. But I want to plead that I must not be pressurized to give an answer that I don't know about. If I don't know, commissioners, I really don't know. It is my humble submission that please I do not want to be pressurized to say things that tomorrow might come and say, but at the commission, this is what you said.
Yes.
So,
General, the intention is not to pressurize you. I asked you simply this. This is all I asked you. I said, you heard on radio, on what you've just said, you heard on radio that Ms. Diokaran, a whistleblower, has been killed. That you say, I heard that on radio. 1. 2, you heard on radio, you say that she was killed for blowing the whistle on corruption at Tembisa Hospital. You say that's what you heard on radio. What I was testing with you, or what I was asking you, was you did not hear in those radio reports, you did not hear that Mr. Matlala's company is one, or the company that is implicated in the corruption at Tembisa Hospital. I was checking that part you say you did not hear. And
correct.
the answer is yes, no. You
correct.
either heard it or you didn't.
I didn't hear that, Commissioner,
Thank
if you
you.
allow me to answer, but you said I will pressurize you to respond. That is why I said what I said, Commissioners.
Because I wanted a
That's
clear
what-
answer. I wanted a clear answer to make sure that I do understand your answer, that you heard Ms. Diokaran has been killed. She was a whistleblower on corruption at Tembisa Hospital. You heard that part. I wanted to be clear about that. And then finally, to be clear that your evidence is that you did not hear that Mr. Matlala's company was implicated by the whistleblower. That's all. It's that simple. I just wanted an
Correct,
answer to that. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hassan.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. General, I'm not going to move off these media clips because I hear what you're saying, but it doesn't make sense because, as I said, thanks to good journalism in this country, you couldn't avoid hearing about the developments in the investigation of this particular scandal. You couldn't avoid it. And you can see that as I take you through these particular articles. And as I said, this is a sample. And this is just what is posted online. There was radio and there was TV. And there were other forms of social media posts regarding this. So I'm going to go through it because this was on 20 December, this particular article. Now what we have is not only that Mr. Matlala was involved in the Tembisa scandal, but also that his company was raided and that he's been awarded a further tender, the one that we were discussing yesterday in the purchase orders related to the further tender. So there are more information is emerging. So this is on 20 December, and we've gone through the headlines of that. And again, you would have already read this, and you would have seen that it's a very detailed report. Can you go to page 28, the next article, which is 23 December? And the other thing you'll see is that the reporting on this is really every couple of days. There's something new that emerges. So 23 December, page 28, you see that?
I see that, Commissioners.
So now, if you just look at the headline summary, the first paragraph, businessman and entrepreneur previously linked to Tembisa Hospital, fraud investigations, it says, is now entangled in a case involving the kidnapping of a woman and a child. That's the first paragraph, you see that?
I see that, Commissioners.
The second paragraph says, following a raid at his home, where expensive watches, electronics, and guns were seized, Madlanga has launched court action to overturn unlawful police action. Do you see that?
I see it, Commissioners.
And then the third paragraph says his court papers provide a rare window into the dramatic raid and his connection to high-ranking officers after his company was awarded a police health services tender worth 360 million. Now, this article is now referring to additional information. This is now not just about a firearm inspection compliance at his office. This is a raid at his home. And you've said that you and Mr. Madlanga speak regularly and that you spoke about his struggles. Are you saying that you had no discussion with Mr. Madlanga about this raid on his home?
Yes, Commissioners, he never told me about the raid. I've already indicated that in my evidence in chief what he shared with me. And I've already indicated this morning, Commissioners, apologies, I was looking this side. Please bear with me. I also indicated this morning that he did inform me about the firearm inspection. Then I told him that if there's nothing wrong, you don't have to worry. So, Commissioners, I must indicate that even though the advocate is saying it doesn't make sense to her, but my job is to deal with investigations. I must focus at my province, KwaZulu-Natal. And I must tell you that even if my performance can be flagged here, over and above what I had highlighted here, in the country, the Republic of South Africa, for the past 3 financial years, excluding this one, the current one because it has not yet ended, the performance of my province, because I focus on my work, it was the one was 98% and the other two was 100% when we look into the serious commercial crime investigations. And I was carrying the country in order to achieve its objectives. You see, hence I said I don't patrol the media. And then if I came across these newspaper articles, I'm repeating again, I would have dealt with it, Commissioners, in line with what I did with the article of the 5th of March. And I would have sent it to him and ask him questions about it. So since this never came to my attention and the issue of that his company was linked to this exposure by a whistleblower that was murdered, may her soul rest in peace, I would have dealt with it in line with this, and it would have an impact in my relationship with him, Commissioners.
Can I just ask a slightly different question? Assuming you are correct that you did not look at the newspaper articles from December to February 2022, are you aware that Mr. Madlanga had a criminal record prior to you starting a friendship with him?
I was not aware, Commissioner. I became aware when it was read in the ad hoc, ad hoc committee, that there is this long list of criminal record.
Is it not a red flag that the head of the province for the Hawks is friends with people who have criminal records and he's unaware of it or he chooses to ignore it? I don't know which is which. Is it not a red flag?
Commissioners, if you don't know anything, there's no red flag about it unless you were aware of it. And I must put it on record, Commissioners, that when you, in this room, I want to invite that is there anyone in this room when you have a friend, one goes and say, let me profile this friend of mine to see what type of a person he is. Even our partners, nobody does that until in the police, you profile a person when he's a subject of investigation. You don't abuse the state resources. So if I'm saying, Commissioner, in short, I was not aware, and then I've never even profiled him.
So it doesn't bother you who you associate with. You say, if they don't tell me, they could be serial killers for all I care. I will be their friends until they tell me that they are serial killers. Is that your attitude?
You know, Commissioner, a serial killer, you might find we have inside here, I got training to that. A serial killer is a different type of a person who is a normal person within the societies and everything. And once he starts, that thing ignites. And then what will happen? He will go and kill. And then from there, he comes back after a certain period of time, it comes up again. And then that is a serial killer.
But General, I don't want you to avoid my question by trying to explain to me what a serial killer is. I was simply making an example that as head of province for the Hawks, do you not check the type of people you befriend or you associate with?
I do not profile them until if I know if there is anything sinister, then I'll start to ask questions. I'll start to engage the very same person that I'm I've befriended. And that what about these things, as I've done with this article of the 5th of March, commissioners. You know, when a relationship is starting and it's moving, until such time you find things that are sinister, then that is when you start to do those type of things. But before that, I didn't. And my responsibilities here was to deal with crime in KwaZulu-Natal.
But this is now 6-7 years later. It's not at the beginning of the friendship.
Correct, commissioners. I didn't profile him or search for who is he, what has he done wrong with the law.
So it did not bother you that here is a person who's going into business with my son. I want to protect my son. Let me check him out to see if he has a criminal record, if my son is not entering into a business relationship with somebody who has a criminal record. All those things did not bother you.
Commissioners, I cannot go and profile a person if he does business with my son. There's a lot of other people that were doing business with my son. I didn't profile them. I became very worried once that thing was displayed at the ad hoc committee. So, on a serious note, commissioners, I think I've responded to that. I don't do that.
General, I think two questions for me from this. You say you got concerned when things came up at the ad hoc committee. Are you saying to us that before the ad hoc committee process, you never became aware from media reports that Mr. Madlanga is implicated in serious criminal conduct? For example, there's the alleged attempted murder of his former partner, for which ultimately I think he gets arrested. And there are other things that have been reported. Are you saying to us, until the ad hoc committee, you never became aware of those kind of serious allegations against him?
Commissioner, I was responding to the criminal records of Mr. Madlanga. But to come direct to your question, remember I testified yesterday about what General Mkwanazi talked about, this thing of attempted murder on the girlfriend. I became aware there, and then over and above that, he was eventually arrested. And then I said I completely cut ties with him. And another thing is the issue of, he says the police visited him to do the firearm inspections at his offices. So normally, under normal circumstances, we do not, as police, profile people that are not the subject of investigation. If a person is being profiled, You take his ID, you take his fingerprints to check who he is and so forth. That person must be a subject of investigation. Other than that, with me, I won't do it because it is not correct.
Okay. He's your friend. You refer to him as my brother. So he's not just any person. He's not me in your life, right? He's someone close to you. You become aware in the media or in whatever form, but you concede that you became aware, at least as far as I understand you, that there were allegations about his possible involvement in the attempted murder of his ex-partner. This is before he is arrested. You become aware of that. Is your evidence that even with that allegation that's in the public domain, you still do not check on your friend and brother to see what is it about him? What is his story? You still don't check. You're happy to ignore it and then carry on with your life until he is arrested.
Commissioner, check in the sense of?
To do a profile of him at that point, to go and look at his record. Why are these things being said about him? Are you saying, and please keep in mind that the questions are asked of you because you are head of the Hawks. You may be in KZN, but you are head of an important institution that deals with serious crimes. So the question is asked of you in that way. You're not an ordinary citizen. You're not a junior police officer. You have a friend/brother. Allegations are made about him in the public domain that he may be involved in an attempted murder. But there's more to it, but I'm happy to discuss it on the basis of just this one allegation. At that point, you still say that, well, I've no business investigating him or finding out about him, in fact, not investigate, but finding out more about this person who's so close to me, that I'm associating with, that I'm discussing personal matters and police business with. You still say at that point you think it's not your business to find out more about him.
Commissioners, according to what I heard in that meeting on the 15th of April, the matter was under investigation, and not by me, but by the people that the general knew, General Mkwanaz. So they are responsible to do the profiling and everything. I didn't want to go and profile and do other things. I can't profile a person that is not the subject of investigation. And I think I've already indicated that slowly but for sure, after the article of the 5th of March, I was moving away, reversing away from him. I indicated it yesterday in my evidence. So what the commissioner is asking me, I didn't do it, Commissioner. I never went and profiled him.
Okay, just lastly, just to make sure, so that I make sure I understand your answer. Lastly, is your answer that even when you heard, let's say in that meeting with General Mkwanazi, that, he's being investigated for possible involvement in an attempted murder, even when you heard it in that meeting, you decided, this has nothing to do with me, I see nothing wrong in continuing to associate closely with someone who is accused or who's being investigated, because you knew in that meeting that he's being investigated, you tell us. You're saying to us that you decided after that I don't care, it's fine. I'll continue to be friends with this person who's being investigated by the police, and I'll continue to discuss with him whatever business I want to discuss with him. Is that what you're telling us?
I'm saying, Commissioner, the Commissioner is saying associate closely. I've said after the 5th of March, I started to slowly moving out.
Sorry, I must interrupt you, General. I'm not talking about the 5th of March. I'm talking about the meeting with General Mkwanazi, which is in November already, if I'm not mistaken, and where you say to us, if you heard it for the first time and I'm prepared for purposes of this engagement to accept that you had it for the first time in that meeting. So forget March, which is later on. What I'm checking with you, and really I think you can give me a yes, no answer here, that you hear in that meeting that Mr. Madlanga is being investigated by the SEPS for possibly involvement in an attempted murder. You hear that in that meeting, and you tell us in your statement. You hear that in the meeting. Is your evidence to us now that even after hearing that, you had no difficulty continuing to have him as someone close to you, that you discuss whatever business you continue to discuss with him without distancing yourself from him at that point? After that point, you were happy. You thought there's nothing wrong in your continued relationship with a suspect, is really the bottom line of what I'm asking you. And if your answer is a yes, I'm happy for you to say yes, and we move on.
Can I say this, Commissioners? It was the first time I heard about that investigation. And another division is investigating that matter. I don't interfere in that, number one. Number two is that I already indicated I was moving away to this relationship that I was having with him. It has already started. And, you know, when a person is being investigated, they say there is allegations of this. I didn't have more facts until he was arrested. So the commissioner wants to know is it still okay to continue friendship with that person? My response is that the process has already started for me to move away.
Okay, General, I'm going to accept to take your answer to my question as being, you did not see anything wrong. After you found out in that meeting with General Mkwanazi, if that was the first time you found out, after you found out there that he's being investigated by the SAPS for attempted murder, you saw nothing wrong. You didn't have a problem with a continuing relationship with him immediately after that meeting. I take that to be your answer because you refuse to answer me directly a question that I am confident is capable of a direct answer, yes, no. You've answered it many times, and I accept it as you say you saw nothing wrong in continuing that relationship. Thank you.
My answer still stands, Commissioner.
Thank you,
The
Mr.
termination of the relationship was in process.
General, take you back again to these news reports. We were looking at an article on the 23rd of December 2024 in which very serious allegations are made about your friend. And if you look at the next article, page 33, also 23 December 2024, similar allegations repeated in a different newspaper. Did you understand? I just want to make sure you understood my point earlier about the kind of coverage that this issue is receiving, and that because of that, one didn't need to patrol the media in order to become informed of this. Did you understand that point that I was making?
I do not have that.
Because you keep saying you didn't patrol the media, so I think that you maybe didn't understand me.
Thank you, Commissioners. I don't have to understand something that I didn't see. I don't think it is a fair question. I can't understand something that I didn't see. You'll make a finding about something that we have seen and read. But if you didn't see anything and read it, you can't make a finding or an opinion. Thank you, Commissioners.
You didn't understand what I was saying. But you know, it's fine. Let's move on. My point remains that one did not have to patrol the media in order to become informed of all of these things that I'm putting to you. Do you understand that?
I have already said my business and focus was in KwaZulu-Natal to deal with the mandate of the DPCI KZN.
Yes, except that all of these media reports concern your friend, number one, and number two, concern matters that are very much related to your job.
Commissioners, if you didn't see anything, there's nothing that you can do. But if you saw something, and then it is within your mandate to deal with it, you need to deal with it. But I've already indicated, Commissioner.
You see, General, the problem is that you talk about this as if it related to someone you did not know at all. You have, or rather yesterday, you repeatedly referred to Mr. Madlanga not only as your friend, but also as your brother. You even, in isiZulu or isiXhosa, referred to yourself in relation to him as Ubhuti. Do you remember that?
Correct, Commissioner.
Now, this is something that concerns your younger brother, you, the Bhuti. It concerns your younger brother. It's not about somebody out there whom you do not know. See, that's what makes it difficult for me and I'm sure others to comprehend. Do you wish to comment on that?
Commissioner, if I didn't see it, it puts me in a difficult position to shall have dealt with it. So my answer still remains, Commissioners. I didn't see this newspaper clip. And in our deliberations, when I met with him, my younger brother, Ubhuti, he never highlighted this thing to me. The ones that you have highlighted, Commissioners, I have already given a response and an answer that this is the ones that he told me about.
You see,
okay.
In addition to the difficulty, but I'm sure Ms. Hassim will probably come to that and with more specificity. A theme that runs through your statement is that when it comes to anything concerning Mr. Madlanga, even when you look at the texts, you either do not recall or you do not know, and if it's a text staring you in your face, you will say, yes, I do read it now, but I just do not quite recall what this was all about. That's a theme that runs through your testimony. That includes even the events at the apartment in Durban. You were conveniently going up and down to refill your glass, and I do not know how quickly you gulp up your drink, that for the most part you would not have been with the people that we're discussing. So quite conveniently, the simple point I'm making, quite conveniently, the issues that relate to Mr. Madlanga and which appear to implicate him to some wrongdoing, conveniently, you distance yourself, you don't remember. Don't you find that strange? Do you not realize that we will find that strange, or to be strange?
Commissioners, I'm a human being. I'm subjected to the characteristics of a human being. If I don't remember, and then it gives the commissioners a concern, it is an unfortunate situation. You know, I'll tell the commissioners this. When I was talking about the theft of trucks in Port Shepstone, because one was making notes, doing everything, and then collecting statements and everything, I read, because I was requested to come and talk about it. Then those things reminded me But in relation to what
Even,
we are talking about
these,
here,
even these, you were requested to come and talk about them.
yeah, yes, Commissioner.
In the same way you were requested to come and talk about the theft of the drugs.
I went.
But with regard to these, you don't remember. So far as they relate to Mr. Madlanga and possible complicity or alleged complicity, you don't remember.
Commissioners, what I was having in my possession is the documents that was sent to me as per Rule 3 from the Commission. And we came here, requested additional information that was provided for us. Whatever was provided to us, and then I looked into this. My phone, I indicated yesterday, we went into the outloud and everything. I couldn't get that. Only thing that I'm relying on is what the Commission has given me, because I didn't know one day me communicating or talking with Mr. Madlanga, one will end up here. But whatever I recall, I will gladly give the Commission. But whatever I can't recall, there's nothing that I can formulate and say this is what it is. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, General. Yes, Ms. Hassan.
Thank you, Chair. So, staying in December 2024, you say nothing comes to your attention from the media in any form that implicates your friend. Don't close your bundle on the media because we're not done with it. But can you open, in addition, the exhibit file, 1 of 3, and can you turn to page 3? 3. And so you'll see that these are the WhatsApp conversation between you and Mr. Madlanga. Do you see that?
Correct.
So on page 3, can you read the exchanges between you and Mr. Madlanga on that page? There's 4 exchanges.
Thank you, Commissioners. The first one says, "Good morning, brother."
And can you say what date that is?
28/12/2024. The second one is, "Good morning, Donna," on the 28th of December 2024. The third one on the very same date is, "I trust that you are fine under the circumstances."
Pause there. That is what you sent to Mr. Madlanga, 28 December 2024, right?
Correct,
You said to him,
Commissioners.
"I trust that you are fine under the circumstances."
Correct, Commissioners.
So what were you talking about then? We've just gone through all of these stuff that's in the media. What did you mean under the circumstances?
It was after he told me that they took his firearms during the firearm inspections.
So all you knew about was the firearm.
That is what we were talking about here. I was referring to here.
Can you read the next message?
The guy I went to see really helped. I will tell you whenever you back this side. Monday I'm starting with our project. Nothing is disturbing me anymore.
What did he mean by that? The guy I went to see really helped.
This one, that specific one, I can't recollect. But the next one, I realized that it was a third party that I referred to him to do the risk assessment on CAT VIP security while we were engaging on when we met.
Okay,
I don't know the guy that he went to see.
The
Because,
guy I went to see really helped. You don't know,
yeah,
don't remember.
yeah. And I don't want to assume as well, Commissioners.
And when he says, I'm starting with our project, he refers to our project. Is this a project between you and him? Or that includes you and him?
Our project is the one that I proposed to him through a third person that needed to assist him.
That's the project.
Yeah,
So you were involved in a project with Mr. Matlala, but the nature of it was simply to give him a contact number.
it is not that I was involved in a project with him. I referred him to a third party to assist him with this project.
With which project?
The risk assessment. You know, when we talk our language, when we talk outside here, you need to try and do a proper English so that everyone. When you talk, sometimes the use of the words, they have different meanings. Even if it is work, somebody might say project. So here, it was the third party that I've referred to him in order to assist him with the risk assessment.
And when he says nothing is disturbing me anymore, what did you understand that to mean?
I don't have an understanding. I believe he was ready to move with it.
He says nothing is disturbing me anymore. Doesn't it suggest that he was facing troubles and he was disturbed, but that now nothing is disturbing him anymore?
One can draw that inference, but what kind of troubles, if, as you are saying, advocate, I can't tell, but this is a project that I referred him to the third parties to assist him with the risk management in his VIP security company.
And you saw him soon after this exchange of texts?
Soon meaning?
Within a few days of this? Because he says, I will tell you about it whenever you come back this side, and then you say, I'm coming back that side tomorrow, a week.
Yeah, we never met when I came to Pretoria. It was during the festive seasons where this time, you see 28, 29, 30, we never actually met so that he can be able to tell me. And the issue of this project was in relation to the risk assessment of the security company. But when I came back home, we never met. Even if you can go through this follow-up WhatsApp messages, you know, around the second. If you look at the second in page 6, he says, I told him that I hope he celebrated a very good New Year, and then he said, let me know when you are around. Then I said, great. You know, we normally met as and when it is necessary, and when I come back to Pretoria, because I work in KwaZulu-Natal. When I come here, we will talk and meet and discuss whatever we needed to discuss, and then from there, even if he comes to Durban on his private things, sometimes he will tell me, I'm coming to Durban, find out me, I'm coming to Pretoria.
Thank you. General, I'm going to pause you there, not because I want you to be able to give that evidence, but we will come to the question of your visits. I just want to stick to the point of what I was asking you, which is about these exchanges and this project. So, and him saying nothing is disturbing me anymore, you saying this related to the risk assessment of his company, and that company was Cat VIP Protection.
Yeah.
And you had discussions with him regarding risk assessment of that company.
I'm saying I have referred him to a third party.
I heard that. Are you saying
Can
you
you
referred
allow
him to
me
a
to
third
finish?
party without any discussion with him?
Can you allow me to finish responding to your question? Otherwise, it's going to be a problem. I won't be able to make it what exactly is the question. So I'm saying this is the message he sent me. As far as I can recollect, is that the project that is referred here is the issue of the risk assessment commissioners of his security company. You know, in our deliberations, we'll talk about risk assessment, check if this, for example, if you're going to run short of personnel and then you have a contract to deal with, how are you going to mitigate that risk or red flag? Now, other things that if you say, I'm starting with our project, nothing is disturbing me anymore, actually, it's a problem for me to respond. Maybe he must explain it, but for me, I'm drawing an inference for the benefit of the Commission, but he will have to tell all those his challenges that are no more disturbing him. But if I can think of, as I indicated earlier, in that the visit of the 19th of December where they took his firearms, I know it was a problem for him because it has also, came as a risk that now the firearms are gone. How, if you get a client, what is it that you will do? Thank you, Commissioners.
So what would help us is if you answered my question and then explained. I have no problem with you taking time and giving explanations. What is derailing us a little bit is not answering the question and dealing with side issues. So listen to me and answer the question, and then I have no problem with you expanding on your answer. So you've just said that you discussed with him risk assessment of his company, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this is in the context of his company being named as linked to tender fraud and criminal activity. That would be a serious risk. Not so?
Not that kind of a risk, Commissioners. We never discussed that kind of a risk here in December 2024.
But you accept that that would be a very serious risk. Your name and your company is in the media linked to tender fraud and other criminal activity.
That is your...
That would be a very serious risk.
Sorry, General. I don't understand the question now to be about whether that is what you and Mr. Madlanga discussed. The question is, would something of this nature be a serious risk?
For the company to be involved in serious allegations of...
Yeah, of fraud, tender fraud.
It might be listed as a risk. It might be. But it's upon him if that is going to pose the risk, not me saying it is a risk.
See, General, you're advising him on conducting risk assessment of his company.
Okay.
You've accepted that. You've also told us you discussed the issue of the firearm compliance inspection that happened and the risk that that may pose and what he needs to do. But are you saying that even though you discussed that aspect of the risk to his company, there was no discussion of the risk that's posed by his company being named as being part of a tender fraud? Is that what you're saying?
The security company.
Yes. VIP, what you've just said, VIP protection services. Isn't that the name of the company?
That is the name of the
Yes.
company. What is the question again?
You said you had discussions with Mr. Madlanga about conducting risk assessments on his company, right?
Yeah. Yes, Commissioners.
And you said as part of that discussion, you spoke about the firearm inspection that took place at his company, correct?
I was giving you an example.
You were giving me an example. I'm giving you another example of a risk to the company that was very evident to anybody, which is that the company and Mr. Matlala were named as being linked to tender fraud and other crimes. And I'm asking you whether you are saying that that particular risk didn't come up in your discussions on risk assessment.
Correct, it didn't come out.
General, perhaps the more helpful way, and I'm aware that it's 11 o'clock, let me pose my question anyway, and then we can deal with it when you come back, you can respond. Perhaps the more helpful way is for you to explain to us what was the risk assessment that you advised he should get, because in any institution there are different areas of risk. So you must tell us what is the risk assessment that you said he must seek, because then only when we know what risk was being assessed, then we can make sense of he's telling you, accepting when he says my problem is now solved, I can get on with my project, because then you know exactly what he's talking about. So perhaps over the break, try and remember what it is that you said is the risk that he must speak to this third party for assessment.
Can I?
When we come back, General.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So you are being given
Thank you.
Thank you,
quite some time to ponder. Let's adjourn until 1:15.